My name is Jenny Minocha. I lead the client services team here at Virid, where I manage our enterprise accounts and partner closely with clients to ensure their long-term success. I've been with Virid for over 8 years. In that time, I've had the privilege of supporting retailers through every stage of their e-commerce journey, from platform management, strategy, design, to ongoing optimization and growth.
I'm John Barella, Engineering Director at Virid. I manage the day-to-day engineering operations, which includes IT, DevOps, and of course, coordination with other teams, including client and management. So Composable Commerce is a flexible and modular approach to e-commerce. It gives retailers the ability to pick and choose components from vendors that best meet their particular needs. This is in contrast to the historical alternative, which would be a monolithic approach, where every component is baked into one large e-commerce platform. A platform with very limited flexibility or perhaps no flexibility at all.
I like to think of composable commerce as a puzzle. So where each piece, tool or service has a specific fit and function. So when connected correctly, they form the complete picture of your e-commerce experience. So if one piece changes, you only need to swap that piece. You don't have to redo the entire puzzle. It's become fundamental to modern retail strategies. It gives businesses the speed and flexibility to innovate, adapt quickly to changing customer expectations, and really stay ahead of market shifts and new technologies. So with Composable Commerce, you choose the best tools for each part of your platform. So instead of being locked into one platform, retailers can integrate targeted capabilities like search, checkout, personalization, without having to rebuild their entire system. So it's a modular approach. So it not only streamlines operations, but it makes it easier to scale, deliver consistent, personalized experiences across every channel. The report found from ElasticPath found that 96% of respondents believe that composable commerce will be a prominent tool for the tech stacks over the next 5 years. When considering making a move to composable, 46% said they look at the ease of making changes, 35% appreciated the lower total cost of ownership, 36% like the availability of pre-built-in integrations. So it's really giving retailers greater flexibility to tailor their tech stack to their unique businesses.
The primary benefit of composable commerce is the flexibility. And there are other benefits, but having the greater flexibility to adapt to unique business needs is really the strong suit of composable commerce. Another benefit would be that depending on your particular business needs, you may be looking at a lower total cost of ownership. And this comes from the ability to pay for only the features and integrations that you need without paying for the entire feature set that would come with a monolithic platform, where you might be paying for components that you're not even using. And finally, another benefit of composable commerce is what we keep repeating, is the modular nature of it. And that is where retailers have the option to pick and choose best of breed vendors and components specifically for the individual aspects of their business.
While a fully composable commerce does offer the flexibility and speed we keep talking about, it does come with a specific set of challenges for retailers. When you're relying on multiple vendors, it can create this complexity around integrations, data integrity, and security. So without a centralized system, data can become fragmented, making automation and reporting harder. Additionally, the patchwork of tools is, they often call it a Frankenstack. It can be difficult to maintain, scale, and ensure consistent performance, especially if you don't have the right platform provider in place.
We've already talked about one of the alternatives, and that is monolithic platforms. They've been around for a long time, but despite their age, they do have some benefits. And the main benefit being that the data is held in one system as basically a single source of truth and everything is connected within that large system, and the retailer doesn't have to wire anything together or manage a large set of APIs or separate vendors. The drawback is that lack of flexibility that's so important. Interoperability exists only within the monolithic system, so you could be aware of a better service or component that you need, but it'll be very difficult if not impossible to integrate. Another alternative is the SaaS e-commerce model. And a benefit of SaaS is the pricing, tiered pricing, which can help a retailer to better fit their budget and needs. In addition, SaaS products are usually scalable and able to grow with your business. A drawback to SaaS is that, similar to monolithic platforms, SaaS platforms don't offer a lot of flexibility or answers for complex business requirements. They tend to be a one-size-fits-all. And the reality is that the e-commerce space has become much more complex, and tailored solutions are often needed. And I can give you an example. At Virid, we've had success with clients who are in the fundraising business and fundraising for schools and nonprofits. And their storefronts, workflows, and processes are very different from a traditional e-commerce operation. There are complex business rules and requirements, as well as additional data that needs to be collected and tracked for sales rep activity, other internal needs, not to mention they have very complicated fulfillment needs. So, as you'd imagine, these type of requirements can only be solved by customization. And these are the type of scenarios where SaaS will struggle with its one-size-fits-all approach. The last alternative that I think of is what we call hybrid composable commerce. And I think this is where the conversation about composable commerce gets interesting, because hybrid composable is when you take the flexible benefits of composable and you combine it with the simplicity of a managed full-service platform. The benefits being flexibility, customization with the technical advantage of an enterprise platform that's all backed by dedicated support. The drawback is that it could be a challenge to migrate to a new platform, which could bring about a new learning curve for your e-commerce team. Single source commerce brings together an enterprise e-commerce platform, market agility with agency services and dedicated support. And with this, retailers get the flexibility of best-of-breed composability while still having single source of truth in our platform and a dedicated team to support their growth. Remember that with a pure composable approach, you may be introducing many software components and their associated vendors that must be managed separately. With single source, you have a team to support you and a powerful platform that holds everything together.
Single source commerce, it centralizes all the data and operations in one platform. So you run your entire e-commerce site utilizing just one vendor, and you're reducing the complexity and integration challenges. The approach typically provides stability, scalability, and efficiency for retailers who prioritize like control and reliability. And then a hybrid model offers the agility of modular commerce with the stability of a unified enterprise system. So it's basically allowing you to swap different vendors into your e-commerce site without any disruption. So it reduces the integration complexity. They're both beneficial in different ways. It's just what your team is looking for. For example, Journeys uses Market Agility as their platform provider, and they seamlessly integrate with best-of-breed vendors of their choice, including multiple payment providers like PayPal, Klarna, or Constructor for search, while it's still maintaining a stable and scalable foundation. For other clients, we manage all of their backend data for vendors like loyalty, while the vendor provides things like points or rewards that would show up in your, my account or the customer's profile. This setup typically makes it easy for to swap vendors based on client preference. So for example, one client switched from Yotpo to Teamwork Retail for their loyalty program. Another example is that many vendors approach, say, cross-sells differently. So they have different elements they want to display on their pages. So some of our clients' e-commerce site, we've integrated, multiple carousels on their front end pages from various third parties. So it's, which showcases basically how easily pages can be composed and not locked into one single vendor. Another example I always think of, a composable element is integrating with different AI vendors. AI is a lot of the buzz these days. So many of our clients are introducing AI solutions for customer support, FAQs, and search. So as they're trial running a lot of these to see if they work on their e-commerce sites, with a hybrid approach, it's definitely easy for you to swap in and out different vendors. So, I would think by adopting a composable architecture, you basically build a flexible, scalable e-commerce system. So if a component maybe becomes too expensive or fails to meet your needs, you can replace that single component without needing like a full replatforming. It's like a plug and play flexibility, and it's invaluable to businesses looking to keep up with, all the rapid changes in e-commerce technology while still managing costs and reducing risks.
And they should ask themselves some questions. Are you generating over 10 million in sales? Smaller retails can grow on SaaS platforms, but as your site traffic and product complexity grow, composable or single source make more sense. And single source commerce offers the greatest scalability of all the three solutions. Another question they should ask is, does your e-commerce site require a lot of customizations? SaaS platforms are often rigid, and both SaaS and composable platforms often require outside developers to fully customize the site. With single source commerce, customization is available and handled from within one team. And finally, ask yourself, have you run into roadblocks with your current e-commerce site? Limited functionality, limited support for multiple stores, etc. If you have the budget and team to manage it, the composable commerce makes sense here. However, if you want a team that will provide strategic guidance while also helping to run your site, single source commerce is the right choice.
Ultimately, the right solution for you depends on where your retail business is in its growth journey. So as you grow, your needs will become more complex, and you will need a commerce solution that you can keep up with.